This channel is supported by truefire. Truefire is an online library of
You can get the truefire all access pass for as cheap as they ever do it, the $99 thing. So just jump and do that if you're looking for the best price that you can get truefire all access for. One of the things that really excites me on guitar are things that we can talk about that are maybe opening up sort of a new door, or things that we can practice that sort of change our perspective on things, or potentially even help us to come up with things that we wouldn't have come up with previously. I just happened across a short from Jeff Snyder that was talking about the Chopin Trick. Now, Jeff is a sax player and piano player and kind of jazz teacher on YouTube that I've known about for years, but sort of I pop in and watch some of his stuff occasionally when I was more into jazz, but this just came up and I kind of thought this is totally fascinating. So, a few things to think about here. So, basically, he starts off with a G major triad in second inversion. So, if you're not familiar with triads, you probably should be. So, a triad chord made up of 3 notes stacked in thirds. Now, you can start that triad from the root, from the third, or from the fifth. So those are what we call inversions. Now, that's about the theory, the start of what we're going to need to do now. With this triad, I guess test 1 is, can you sing each of the individual notes? And this is going to be potentially harder than you think. So here at one time,
And try and think about, can you sing like those individual notes? So at the top is a G, I think. Then what would the B sound like? B, and then the D. So can you do that? And if you move around, G, B, D, G, B. You know, good luck with that. It's not gonna, my singing is not gonna get me a career. Don't you worry about that. Right, now here's the Chopin trick. You're gonna move one note of this triad at a time, either up or down. So I'm gonna do some sort of real-time exploration with you here. This is the first time now me doing this. So what would it sound like if we moved the G at the top? And what you could consider doing, be trying to kind of sing it first. So we've got B, D, G. So in your mind's ear, hear what you're going to get before you play it. Is what's going to happen at the top. Okay, so that's relatively easy compared to what is going to follow. But could you do that the next note? So that's what would happen if I was just moving. And what if we went up? And this is kind of a thing where, I don't know, for me, I don't always feel like I know what's going to come out of the guitar before I play it. I feel like I have an okay instinct, but this is one of those things that I've heard Julian Large talk about, where it's like, actually, part of what's kind of fun about guitar is sometimes it's a little bit unexpected what is going to happen. So, now, here's the cool bit. Once you've moved one note down, the Chopin trick is to move one other note down. So we're going to go from here. We move our G in the top. We now have a B minor triad. What if we move the G in the top, sorry, down to an F sharp? We've got a B minor triad. Now, in your mind's ear, what would it sound like to move one of the other notes down? So I'm going to go with the B on the bottom. Right? And then what, we could move that F sharp back up, right? So you can just keep doing this and experimenting. What about if we move the middle note? Do, da, da, do, da, da. Then just keep moving and exploring. If we move that top note again, da, da, do, do, da. What about if we move the bottom note now? Do, do, da. Bottom note again, down one semitone. Do, do, da. If we move the top note up, do. Wait. So this is really quite a fascinating thing to me, right? So let's do it without the singing part. The singing part is kind of an additional aspect which I think could be really useful for us guitarists. In terms of like hearing like the inner parts of a chord voicing. So we'll move the top. So we get a B minor triad then. And that could be that one. Like a minor 4 type sound, right? And this is the thing, like they have this interesting, they could be sort of coming from other places in harmony, and you could then retroactively fit some theory onto it to play along to it. Now we get, if we move our inner, the D down, now we get essentially an F sharp in first inversion. So we've gone. So So we've actually kind of modulated from G to F sharp, which is not a particularly easy progression to get through, and if you were to think about this logically, you probably wouldn't necessarily arrive there, but just through B minor or G major 7, minor 4, and so I think that's got such a cool sound. And can you sing it before you play it? You could just keep going with this all day. I can move that top note. Got that way wrong. That's right. What about if I move the middle note? And you can kind of interrupt these things, and all of these things kind of, to me, have a way less predictable sound. So that is, I think, the exercise. I think it's just worth a little bit of exploration. Like, take any triad shape, move one note at a time, try and sing the voices, go up as well. Can you do that first, I guess, is like a really interesting test. But equally, these are giving you like new voicings. I thought it was just such a fascinating little thing, and I'm going to put together an introduction now which is pulling some of these ideas together to put together like a chord progression that I would have not come up with were it not for this technique, and hopefully it will sound quite cool. What I'm also, I think, going to do is harmonise it, because the fact that we're starting with a triad means that we can easily do the same thing up a minor third kind of, and get a harmony of whatever's happening, and that might also be kind of interesting. So yeah, tab for that will go up on Patreon, but I just wanted to share that as it's kind of fresh to me right now, and I thought that's actually such a cool idea. So thanks to Jeff Schneider for that. I've heard a guitarist talk about doing this as well, but I can't remember who, so sorry for that. But leave in the comments if you could have seen this kind of thing talked about elsewhere. I think it's a great idea for improving that kind of inner voice and the movement of chords and things that typically, like within a chord grip, am I able to sing like every single note that is in it? Oftentimes, no, I'm kind of hearing it as one big sound. Well, this kind of helps you to break it apart a little bit, get a little bit more inside that chord, maybe, and come up with some different things that are going to happen outside the key. Just because you're moving things one note at a time, you're getting these really interesting chromatic movements. Hope that's okay to talk about.